Home. It's your call. Thank you, buddy.
Good morning. Thank you. I want to say thank you and happy Memorial Day to everyone, Memorial Day weekend. And this is a time when we remember those who gave what we call the ultimate sacrifice for, and in some ways we would say for our nation, for our people, that our people are now worldwide, and our community. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you into a series of what I'll call ritual. And if you're willing, the difference between ritual and performance for me is there's an audience in a performance. In a ritual, there's all participants. So I'm going to ask for you to support me by participating with me, if you're willing. And one of the first things I'd like to do is, in a moment, I'm going to ring some chimes, these chimes, and I'm not sure how it's going to come across on Zoom, so just a little warning there. I'll ring them gently, and these chimes are, when I am in a practice with someone, they represent calling in our team of all of those who love and support us. And so that's what we're going to do today. And when I do that, I'm going to take you through a page from Mr. Rogers' book of calling in, remembering all of those that have spoken life to us, all of those who have taught us and lifted us up, just to notice how it feels in your body and in your emotional body and in your mind and heart. So I'm going to invite you now to have a breath and gently close your eyes or lower your eyes. And just take this time to check in with that precious being that is you. And remember someone that lifted you up or spoke life into you or gave you a picture of yourself that was bigger or better than you had imagined for yourself. Or even someone who simply said, it's okay, it'll be okay. Yeah, feel them coming into the space now. And just, if it works for you, you can put your hand on your heart and just whisper a gentle thank you. Thank you, Cedric. Thank you, Dad. Thank you. And notice that we're calling in the vibration of the master teachers. And notice where you feel it in your body. Thank you. Remember what it felt like to receive their love, their encouragement, what it feels like in this moment. Ooh, thank you. And have a breath and gently open your eyes. And now I'm going to ask, for those of you on Zoom, you can, if you're willing to put it in the chat or unmute, or those of you, as it says on Zoom, that you churchy folks, where did you feel it, or where do you feel it? Do you feel any sensation in the body? I'm going to ask you to use your voices or use the chat. Thank you for your bravery. Say that again.
My head and my heart.
Your head and your heart.
My chest.
Chest, yeah. I was feeling that as well. Torso, I see in the chat. Thank you. I really, and I want to let you know that I'm already feeling held and supported by just you in having this conversation back and forth, and that feels really good to me too. we're talking a lot about our bodies these days, because our bodies hold the things that we can't, don't have time to deal with until we have time to deal with it. And it's wonderful to recharge ourselves by remembering some of the nurturing. And I'm also going to invite us to, all right. And so those of or can mute rather, thank you. Thank you. We're figuring it out as we go along, but we're all in it together. So now I'm going to invite you to remember, feel into that space. And in a moment, I'm going to, for those of you on Zoom, you can stay muted. I would love to be able to hear you, but I'm going to invite you to say the word ah, as in ah, aha, or ah. And but before you do, we're going to call up that energy that we just summoned into the space, and feel that energy that was in your head and heart, your torso, your chest. And we're going to together to clear with the intention of clearing and emptying, clearing ourselves to receive. Ready? 1, 2, 3, all together. I'm going to do that one more time. And you, and have a breath and just notice. And welcome in the relief, the uncovering of the energy that we just pulled together. Ah is a sound that we can use as love warriors to clear a space. Did you know that, and I think I've said this before, yoga used to be considered a martial art. And it was considered a martial art because when the yoga means to link together. So when we're linking together, it becomes impossible to become violent in the yogi's presence. And those yogis back in ancient Kemet, or which is now called Egypt, were called the Djed. The Djed was the spine section of Osiris, and it stood for the cultivation of inner power. And guess what those practitioners were called? The Jedi. Much like our beloved Pastor Bill's email. We are Jedi. We are practicing, holding space. And as a piece of, and not only passively holding space, but actively calling it, creating the world that it is, that we will allow, that we call forward in our presence. And we may think sometimes like, who am I to hold the space? But who are you not to? Often we can, as people with empathy, we can feel like the room, let me see if I can zoom in on you, all of you folks. Have you ever had the experience of being at a gathering and feeling like, I'm gonna ask a few questions. Have you ever had the feeling of like, oh, this is too much, it's bombarding me, this energy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And have you ever had the experience of feeling like, oh, I'm bringing the room down? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. And then conversely, if you had the feeling of being the life of the party or bringing light into the room, just notice that.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. I would suggest that if you've experienced one, bringing the room down, you've also probably experienced bringing the room up, because as Jedi, as empaths, if the room feels us, or if we feel the room feels us in a magnified way. And that I want to link back to the martial art of the Jedi. So when we are in that elevated, grateful, powerful torso energy space, we can lift the room, and we can also shift the space just by coming in and moving a vase or this little statue behind me. If I were to shift it 3 inches to the right, it would be a different vibration, a different frequency. And Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. Einstein said, if you want a certain, I'm paraphrasing now, but basically saying, if you want a certain reality, create the vibration and frequency for that reality, and it has no choice but to exist, but to come into existence. And I use that as sort of a backbone to lean on, because then I'm not gaslighting myself into like, oh, I'm just not believing enough. I'm just not thinking positive enough. It's okay. We can be compassionate with ourselves and know that there's a frequency that's out there that we are already worthy of working with. And we can just begin to gently bring ourselves back to that frequency. So there's a saying that said that people remember us not by our words or deeds, but how they feel in our presence. And I want to invite you to remember, how did you feel as you recalling those teachers, those master teachers, that loving support of your team? How did it feel? How does it feel? Yeah, I feel the expansion, and we're holding each other in this mutual support. And so what if you could harness and use this energy, this feeling, this frequency? I believe that we can. And I'd like to just share a couple of those ways with respect. And so coming back to that, oh yeah, even the vulnerability of like being able to talk to someone and saying, I'm feeling scared, or I'm feeling this or that. That's authenticity, and that is the basis of intimacy, of holding each other that we can be a sacred way. And I want to invite you now to take all of that loving energy and place it just below your navel point in your mind's eye. Yeah, let it fill up that space below your navel point. It's called the Dantian. It's also the home of the second chakra. It's our creativity, our pleasure, our relationships with ourselves and others, sexuality, all of that energy. That's also the sort of the gravitational center of the human body. So bring that energy there, and I'm going to invite you to think of someone, or look around in this room or this Zoom room, and think of something you admire about someone here. And if you're not seeing someone here right now, look around and see something that you appreciate. It might be the strength and the beauty of a tree. It might be just, I admire all of us for showing up in community, and send that energy out from your navel point to bless when we bless, we say it's the intending of, I want this to be nurtured. I'm speaking life into it. I'm bringing life into this, just as life has been spoken into us. Oh, yeah. Feel that. And thank you. All good. But that is the act of blessing in Hawaiian tradition, is sending the energy from our navel. And as we're appreciating the beauty of a person, or the honesty, the open-heartedness of someone, the beauty of a tree, we are inherently bringing that and affirming that in us. And so that's how we begin to bless and lift each other up. I'm going to share one other thing. I think for time's sake, I don't want to go on too long. I've had a tendency to try to put 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. So I'd like to kind of get us to tapping on how do we get to that space? You know, there are days that we just have crappy days, and maybe we're like filled up with like all of the agita, all the stuff. And how do we first get into that space without feeling a little like imposter? I would suggest that we empty. And emptying is the process that Pastor Bill just took us through, clearing our chakras. There's also 2 simple ways of emptying that I'll share right now. Sometimes in our throat chakra, we have the congestion, I'll call it, of all of the things that we could have said but didn't, all of the things that we wanted to say but didn't, those kinds of things. And so for that, a modified version of lion pose can be very helpful. Lion pose is where you contract everything up, bring your shoulders up, bring your shoulders up to towards your ears, make your eyes tight, make your face tight like you just ate a lemon. Take a deep breath in and exhale, and now had I really thought that through, I probably would have like rubbed my tongue with a lemon just so it'd be all pink and beautiful. But I'm going to say it again. So again, bring everything in and up, tight, tight, tight. Exhale, make your eyes big and open. Good. Good. That can help clear out the throat chakra so that we can then become that hollow bone to receive that information from spirit. One other way of emptying is to, without judgment, there's a Mayan tradition of philosophy on energy. And that philosophy is that there's really only 2 kinds of energy, heavy and light. And they say, oh, humans are the only beings in this universe that can create, guess which kind? Heavy. Yeah, yeah, no surprise, right? But what I love about their philosophy is that they have no negative connotation to heavy. In fact, they say that if only humans can create heavy energy, it must be sacred. And when we give it away empty, Pachamama, Mother Earth, receives it as a sweet treat and uses it to create light. And I love that, because then I don't have to feel shame about like, oh, there's all my stuff, all my crud. So one way for you people, for those of us that feel in the body or kinesthetically, I'm just gonna like walk you through a quick 2-minute energy balancing. And I'm going to invite you to have a breath, close your eyes once again, and allow your awareness to scan your body without judgment. And just notice anywhere in the body that feels more dense or heavy, without judgment. Just notice. And begin to call this heavy energy to gather in your lower belly. Just let what's heavy be heavy and slide to the lower belly. Good. And now let it begin to drop from the lower belly through the tailbone, through the chair, couch, or bed, through the floor, through the foundation of the earth, through the crust of the earth, all the way to the heart of Mother Earth, where it's received. Yes, yes, thank you. Just let it empty. Allow it to empty. And while you continue emptying of what you don't need in this moment, allow what's been emotionally heavy to drop into the heart of the earth, or spiritually heavy. Yeah. And now imagine a liquid sunbeam coming in through the top of your head, pooling behind your heart. This is the energy of ease, effortless flow, buoyant light. It's just naturally the energy of warm, welcoming laughter, inclusion, expansive energy, and let it continue to expand into the places that once held heavy. And if it works for you, if you're a big visualizer, you can open your eyes, just have a breath and notice whatever you drop, let it turn into beauty in nature. So if I'm dropping what feels like nails from my heart, let it become what it becomes: butterflies flying away, or mangoes dropping to the earth, or topaz, or whatever gemstone, or waterfalls emptying. Because if we allow the energy to shift, we can't reincorporate it in the same way. And I know that there's a lot of us that are very polite and we're like, oh no, I don't want to leave my crud here, so I'm just going to pick it up with me and take it with me when I go. Well, take those butterflies, take those mangoes, take those gemstones with you. So that's the emptying piece. And finally, I will say that when we take this energy into a healing place, we do it with consent. So, for example, we can hold the space for people to be who they are, but without getting explicit consent. If I send someone energy or Reiki who says that they have a headache without asking, I might be meddling or adding another layer of energy that they have to work through. There's a piece that I'm going to try to find quickly that my friend Rodney Vaccaro wrote, and on it is a picture of a butterfly, and it says, I just read the most wonderful thing. If you break a butterfly out of its cocoon, even if it's fully formed, it won't be able to fly, because it is the painful action of breaking the cocoon that develops the muscles the butterfly will need to fly. Think about that. The next time something in your life is challenging you, as painful and difficult as it feels, it may be giving you the strength you need to fly. Just breathing into that.
Excellent.
And my last question is, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered? We are what we practice. And I encourage you and support in our Jedi practice of lifting, of relieving tug of wars, and bringing healing. And thank you for being in community with me. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much.